Hello, welcome to Health Talk. I'm Dr. Manny. 14 million dogs and 3 million cats travel every year with their owners on vacation. Of course, it's fun to bring Fido along, but how do we do it safely? Joining us now is pet lifestyle expert Kristen Levine. Thank you so much for coming.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
All right, life expert on pets, huh?
Absolutely. Pet lifestyle is a big part of your life.
It's a big ticket item. There's so many pets, though. Every year I see more and more pets everywhere.
88 million cats and 75 million dogs.
Plane, trains, and automobiles. Three things that we travel in. What are the things that owners of pets should be aware of?
Well, the most important thing you need to do if you're traveling with your pet, whether it's on vacation or just day-to-day travel around town, is to properly restrain or confine your pet. And that's not only for their own safety, but for yours as well, particularly in auto travel.
So just like the seatbelt for humans, it's important to keep the pets in secure position.
You know what? We think of pets as our children. So you wouldn't have your child sit in the car without buckling up. You shouldn't have your pet jump in the car without being buckled up either.
Now, specific things. Let's separate them, because I'm always fascinated in people that come to the airplane and sit there. They have the little bags and they take the pooch out and all that. Anything in regards to airplanes specifically, whether on the cabin or underneath the airplane, that people should be aware of?
Absolutely. If your pet is small enough to travel in the cabin with you, and that means they have to fit into a carrier that goes underneath the seat, then it's a very safe situation. However, if you have a larger, generally it would be a dog or something over 20 pounds that doesn't fit into a carrier under the seat, your only other option is cargo. And I do not recommend that you travel with your pet if you have to use cargo. I've talked to a lot of airline pilots that have told me that there are no regulations on pressurization or temperature in the cargo hold. So you're really taking your chances.
So it's better not to bring then the pet, even though, let's say you're going to spend a month in Florida, drive and take the big dog with you in the car?
Honestly, again, I get back to the child analogy. If you wouldn't put your child in the cargo hold, I wouldn't put your pet there.
I have seen people give some sedation to dogs when they go in the cargo. Is that safe?
I'm glad you brought that up, because we used to recommend that people talk to their veterinarian about sedatives. Some pets do get anxious, they get motion sickness, but nowadays veterinarians are recommending all natural, holistic remedies, such as we've brought a few examples today. Pedigrine is an all-natural calming agent for your pet. The problem with the sedatives is it tends to make your pet have an upset stomach. They lose motor control. They might fall down more easily.
They could throw up.
They could throw up, and then you've got a mess in your car.
And they could aspirate also, just like humans can, especially if they're sedated. So it's better to go with natural products.
Absolutely. Try it out first.
All right. Let's talk about some, because you have a lot of little stuff here.
I sure do.
Let's talk about some of the tools that are used for traveling and how to use them.
We'll talk about auto first, since that's the most common form of travel. Nowadays, manufacturers are making, this is from Kurgo, these are great automotive harness systems for your dog. If you have a dog that doesn't fit into a carrier, you'll need to buckle them in to using your own seatbelt system in the car, but with one of these harnesses.
So seatbelt with the harness, just like a little baby.
Yeah, and it's really comfortable because it's got a soft chest pad for them, so if they lean into it, they're not restricted too much in movement. They just can't jump from window to window, from front seat to back seat. Along those lines, they make barrier systems that prevent your pet from jumping forward into the front seat. That is a major distraction when you're driving your car, if your pet is jumping around.
Now, I've seen in New York, and we see this all the time, I've seen in New York, a lot of people put one of those metal cages in the especially with the SUVs, you can see them. They put a metal cage, they stick the pet in there, and they go ahead and drive around. How safe are those?
Those are actually really great if you have an SUV or a minivan and you have a large breed dog. Placing them in the cargo area prevents them from jumping forward, of course. And if you're in a collision, they're not going to be catapulted forward.
Yeah, but they're bouncing around, though.
Right. It depends on the size of the dog and how much room they have in the cargo area.
Now, what about these gargles? I find it fascinating. This is for motorcycle riding?
Well, it could be. And I brought a pair that would fit you, Dr. Manny, if you want to try mine. Doggles makes these fabulous... They're called doggles, and they are goggles for dogs, and they have UV protection, great for dogs that like to go boating, great for dogs that like to ride on the motorcycle with you, and while I don't recommend that you allow your pet to hang their head out the car window.
So the cliche of the American Chevrolet, the pickup truck, me riding in New Mexico with my dog sticking his head out, not safe. Not safe.
Debris from the road can fly and hit them in the eye, but if they're wearing goggles, of course, they're protected from that. Hey, we're talking about safety here.
Safety. I know.
And speaking of that, I have to mention also, no matter what form of travel you're utilizing, make sure your pet stays hydrated. I brought a canteen that's meant to travel. It's called the Hydro ago, but there are many on the market available.
So this is basically to keep the water fresh.
Keep water fresh, and there's the bowl built right into it, or you can purchase collapsible bowls for travel. And always, 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 Dr. Manny, make sure your pet is wearing a collar with identification. No matter how, even if you're going down the street to the dog park, because a lot of pets, if you happen to get separated from your pet, this is their only ticket home.
Yeah. Now, you also have a carrier that's climate controlled?
Yes, state of the art.
State of the art.
Yes.
Tell me it has built air conditioning.
It does. It
Oh,
does.
my God.
It also has a heating system. It will maintain 72-degree temperature. It has a plug that you can plug into your AC adapter in the car.
How much would that send me back?
It retails for about $300.
$300.
So it's
just to
a
keep
higher
the pet
ticket
cool.
item, but your pet's going to be so comfortable, and you don't have to worry about
open the window.
It's all about safety and comfort. But that is not for airline travel. That is for auto travel, or just getting around town.
Let me ask you a question. You mentioned something about ID. How do you feel about the implantable ID chip that a lot of pet owners are doing on their pets?
I think they're fabulous. They're called microchips.
The microchips.
And the reason they're great, Dr. Manny, is because they are a permanent form of identification. The collar, you can forget to put on your dog.
You can cut that off.
It can fall off. The tags can rust and fall off.
Right.
But the microchip, which is permanently implanted, doesn't move and will stay with your pet for its entire life.
All right.
And
all right, so buying the pet, feeding the pet, now I got to make the pet comfortable, and I have to spend all this money and all this safety equipment, which is very important, as you mentioned, but it really could set you back a little bit.
Well, but there are some affordable items on the market because companies realize that pets are our kids too, and they want to make them available to us.
All right, thank you so much for coming to the program. And if you have any health issues you would like me to look into, email me at drmanny@foxnews.com. Until next time, I'm Dr. Manny.